we have a question from Jenny. Thank you very much, Jenny, for your question. And I can read. Could I ask what sort of different techniques you like to try? It's a question to you, Rosie.
Well, I like trying with, I use chantings, which I've got here. Well, you can see, like this, like a little spoon. I mean, you dip it in the wax and you draw it. I like drawing with the wax. I like stamping with the wax. I like spattering with the wax. So you get all sorts of spray and things. I like, for clouds and things, I like using a paper towel and doing sort of texture for clouds or for rocks. Um, I don't do that too much stamping, repeating the patterns, but it's trying to find different methods of how to create. I even, you think I usually start with white fabric, but you can, and occasionally halfway through, I did one of a gondolier, and the background was too dark, but I made sure that the whole background, everything round about was waxed because the wax protects it, and I could bleach it or discharge the color, rinse it and things, and it doesn't always go. Colors don't always go back to white. So in this case, it came back to sort of a lighter brick color, and it was perfect. And so, you know, there you're trying different things. I've got this one. I brought this one over. I don't know if you can see it. This is on black fabric, and this is where I actually bleached out. I waxed what I wanted to keep black, and then
Interesting.
bleached out. So there's many different ways you can do it. You can't do that on silk. You can't bleach out on
Yeah,
silk.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I do it mainly on fabric, on cotton fabric,
Cotton, yeah, yeah.
and sometimes do it on paper.
And you told us most of all about batik, yeah, different tryings in batik technique, and maybe you like to try something new with paper, or I don't know, maybe in different techniques. No, only batik.
I mean, there's one. Funny enough, you just been to Cologne. Well, I went into the cathedral and I took photographs of people coming through the doorway, and you have a sort of haze. So I thought, well, what I'd like to do is do a thin fabric in front, and then have the image behind, so you could see as if it's looking through glass, but it's not quite strong. So there's so many different different things that one can do. Paper is good because I use. I know that. I think Jenny was wanting to know about paper, different papers I use. I use, well, it depends what you want to do. I use for cards. I actually batik on tissue paper and colored tissue paper, or white tissue paper.
I never tried. I've heard, but I never tried.
Okay, so I mean, I made cards, and they're mainly sort of abstract and things,
Mm-hmm.
different things.
Wow.
But you can start with different colors,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's fragile, so you have to keep it. Don't take it off the paper every time. Just put the dye over it, and when you iron it, it'll come off. And then you spray it and stick it on white
Mm-hmm.
card, because the white behind it really makes it glow, which is fantastic. You can make wrapping paper, and then I do workshops. We're using, not particularly good paper. It's newsprint, but it's a wonderful way of experimenting. But you can use washi, Japanese paper, thin. You can use. I found this wonderful thing called banqueting paper, which is quite thick, and you could spread. You could have a batik party, and everyone could come and batik on this paper. It's not plastic; it's paper. Um, So, and that's a wonderful thing. But I've also find that with a lot of exhibitions, watercolor exhibitions, they want it on paper, and which is frustrating because I treat my batiks like watercolors, but I usually do it on fabric.
Mm-hmm.
But on paper, you can use sort of quite thick watercolor paper, and when you wax on it and iron it out at the end, you don't know where the wax what is. It absorbs into the paper, so that's really good too. So yeah, but I don't know. I find it. I find I love the way that the dyes work, and that's why I like fabric. Probably prefer fabric to paper.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, there's Chinese paper, watercolor paper. There's all sorts of different papers you can use. It depends what you want to turn it into. If it's, you know, I think that she wrote a question beforehand, and I think that what she asked was the kind of dyes. Can you dye? I use, and in fact, a couple of well-known watercolor artists use Prussian reactive dyes on paper, because the colors are so wonderful. And I I don't know. There's a thing which I don't really like is the fact um, there's Fine Art America. They say watercolor batik, and they only use watercolors. They don't use dye. While the Royal Watercolor Society, they say any watercolor media is allowed, as long as it's on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And but with the dyes, you get some wonderful colors, and they're
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah.
You you can fix them with soda ash, sodium bicarbonate, but I think that it's not necessary. And you treat it like a watercolor. You wouldn't put it directly in sunlight if you were framing it or had it up. So,
Mm-hmm.
because batik is wonderful for, it needs light. It looks really good with light behind it. So if you put it in the sunlight, it would fade, but you could make lampshades have light behind them that way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
wonderful way.
And also, spontaneous question about did you make some scarves or some clothing? Um,
Yes, I did. I did used to do scarves, but and you can do them quite quickly. But the ones I often did little pictorial things on, and it took a long time to do. And really, by the time you finish them, I mean, they're good with color and shapes and things. But when I first started doing it, I was too detailed, and really, the number of hours to do it, you don't really get your money's worth back on it. But the fabulous thing about working on silk is the other colors, and
yeah.
you can get lovely fluid and all sorts of things. So yeah, I enjoy doing that, but for time wise, I don't have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I did a little waistcoat, done aprons, and t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to do t-shirts with kids sometimes, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've gone into clothing.
Yeah. It's it's interesting. It's interesting theme also for me. And I usually open the book of Jonathan and see his different variation of clothing which he produced during his life, and they're amazing, really.
Well, I think earlier on, you can do sort of skirts and dresses and things like that. Um, but I don't think he does that now. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I need to come back to my questions to you. It's a very, I think, huge question and very, very difficult. And why did you choose batik?
why did I choose batik? Um, I think it chose me actually. uh, I think that, well, because I was teaching, I was introduced to all sorts of things. I do like printing and collage and things like that. But I don't know, there must be a magic about batik. I think it's meditative sometimes and you slows you down. Um, you can be listening to all sorts of music or radio and you can concentrate, just get lost in it.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's the philosophy behind it too, because it is a philosophy, especially in places like Java, Jakarta. Um, they have, designs and things that are passed down through families. And also, when I was very lucky. I've exhibited in China twice and in Japan twice, and I had to give a talk. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I talked, and I did one in Boston as well in 2005. And I talked about batik as a teaching thing because through batik you learn about design, color, cultures, uh, science because of the dyes and the wax, um, mathematics. I mean history. Uh, different countries of the world. All sorts of things. So and there you are doing with color, and immediately you can see in front of your eyes when you have two primary colors going merging, they become secondary colors, and then thirds. And so it taught me. I just thought, well, there is a magic. You're going to try and control this, but it doesn't always happen. And so it's the results at the end because you can, as I say, you can spatter, you can etch into the wax, you can do so many things. And so I think it's also the joy that uh, kids or adults enjoy doing it because they can actually, from a blank piece of fabric or paper, you can create something and you can take it home and frame it, make it into cushions or whatever you like to do. It is just wonderful that you can get, there's so many possibilities. You can be tight and very figurative like I am, or you can be loose and free and spatter the wax on and, you know, give a lovely, lovely sort of effect. So that you can do much more than if you were painting, I think. Um,
I'm so sorry, we have a break now. uh, do you see the questions, Rodi, or do we need to wait and I can read?
you
Do you
can
see the questions?
see what it says. From Japan, can I ask a question? What age do you think is suitable for batiki? What age? Any age. Much as batiking is fun, it's a bit difficult for small kids. And do you have tricks to make it sure it's safe? Okay, I have taught from 3-year-old up to 80 something, 90, actually 92-year-old I've taught. So with the, I suspect that your question is about children and also with disabled. Sometimes they can't hold the tools, so you have stamps, copper stamp. So as a result, what happens is what I did with the children, I either one time we did a very large of a monster of a creature. The kids had drawn it out on paper, a large piece of paper, and then I had a frame and I had the wax spots in the middle. Now, usually when I'm teaching a class on my own, I would have the dyeing area away from the waxing. You of course have to go through health and safety and be careful and don't touch this and um, especially the metal, but otherwise, just be careful. Don't have too many tools the um, in the wax pot, and try and, if you are lucky, to get sort of maybe two to a wax pot. And for the dyeing, they did have gloves and they had put the dye in, and then everyone had a go. Now I find these, just wait, let me get it. I find these Kiskas are really good for children because they don't blob as the things. But I've also, you can use cookie cutters that you can do repeat. You'll go. What I find is fun is you'll go get the children to go around and find things that might make marks, and then are they metal? They'll notice that it holds the heat better than if it's wood or card. So it teaches them a little bit about science as well. So I think for safety, I would have them smaller groups start. Maybe do what I did was that I went into a school and they had a theme. They were doing the Arctic and the Antarctic. So, and we didn't have that much time. So I got everyone to work on paper first of all, and then everyone would have a go on the big, large batik. And so while they were working on paper, then a small group would go up and wax on the fabric. And then and then they would apply dye, and then the other lot would go and do the same. So that's how I sort of divided it up. I don't know if, let's see her name, Charita. I don't know if you are teaching younger children or, I think it's just not to have too many around the wax pot, and also to keep the wax and the colored water away, because if you have a kid that comes along and puts a wet brush in the wax, it'll start sizzling, and whoa. So that's why wax and colored water don't mix. So if the fabric is wet, the wax won't penetrate. If if you go out in the rain, you put a waxproof coat, waterproof on, and it repels it. So if you, so the fabric must be dry. Paper not so much, but the fabric must be dry in order to put the dye on, or to wax first, and then put the dye on.
Where did you learn about Batik Guild, the Batik Guild? And when and what role does it play in your artistic path? Thank you, Rosie.
The Batik, I'm trying to think how I heard about it. I think because there's not many people who do Batik, I heard there was some workshops, and this, I think I must have gone to, there's a workplace, West Dean offers courses, and I think I went there in 1984 to a workshop with Noel Direnforth, who ended up founding, along with his students in London, founded the Batik Guild in 1986. And then, there were a few of us, and some people are still members now, but we had newsletter, and people, wrote articles and things, and it came out, well, it still does, comes out 3 times a year. And now it used to be black and white, and we used to print them ourselves, but now they're colorful magazines, thanks to one of the members who has a printing factory called Newman Thompson. Anyway, so and as a result, we used to have meetings every year, once a year. I was teaching, so I couldn't go to some of the workshops that they might offer, but we always had an AGM, an annual general meeting, where someone would come and give a talk. And then because I was so busy with teaching, I couldn't do that. But then I got involved with the Knitting and Stitching show, and they wanted sort of shows where people could come, and they had, it was all to do with textiles and things, but they came and we had an area where people could come and sample how to do it and things like that. And we put on a display. And over the years, we've had different people organizing that. And that's been a wonderful way of advertising. But at Batik Guild, I retired in 2013. And ever since then, I have been busy. I've been the what we called overseas representative. And so I'm, for some reason, I'm in charge of Europe at the moment, and North and South America, and the rest of the world. Well, it includes Asia and Africa and Australasia. And basically, I sort of contact people over the years. I'm now the vice chair, and I don't know, but anyway, I just do something to do with the Batik Guild every day, and I send out and ever since say 2015 or 13, the numbers of international members have increased considerably. In fact, we're over 50% of the overall membership. And with the introduction of Zoom and Instagram and things like that, what I find exciting is discovering new people around the world who can do traditional batik, who can do more. The West, we tend to concentrate more on sort of figurative or clothing or pictures and things like that. So no, it's really good. So the Batik Guild is now reaching everywhere. And what's happening now, I also was involved with the Year of Batik, and we are amalgamating the new website that we're creating a new website. So we're amalgamating the Year of Batik one and the Batik Guild one, and it should be uploaded in May, and hopefully it will reach even more people around the world.
Yeah, thank you, Rosie. The Batik Guild is a very inspiring organization, really, and yeah.
Everyone is so different, and also it's a community, and
Yeah.
and people can become members even if they don't actually do much batik. It's because you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, well, you discovered just recently, you met Rudolf Schmend. And how did he start? You know, he was traveling to Australia and never got that far, and was fascinated with traditional Indonesian batik. And as a result, came back, started collecting batik, traditional batiks, and has an amazing collection. And so you have the traditional batik and also contemporary. And somewhere in the middle, we all get inspired and enjoy meeting to know each other and also learning new techniques. So
Yeah, that's true. And I learned about Batik Guild from Irina Babkina.
oh, did you? Now,
Yeah.
no, also in there's a fantastic batik school in Moscow, and also a couple of batik studios in Poland.
How much do you work now? Every day or not?
I try and do it every day. Yes, because the wonderful advantage of batik is that there's a natural time when you can step away. Once I've started the waxing, and then you apply the dye, well, then off you go, because the dye is wet and you have to let it dry. And so therefore you can go off and, do some gardening or read a book or cook a meal or something like that. And that's the other reason why I like batik, is because if I was painting, I would be keeping on going and going and probably spoil it in that way. But I think that there's a natural time when you have to stop. And so if you have a half an hour, you can quickly go and do some and then come back. So, yeah.
Is it your studio in your house,
Um,
directly in your house?
and I've always done it in the kitchen, first of all. But of course, then you have to clear it away. When I moved here, I've got a small studio, and and I've still got, you know, printing stuff and all sorts of things there. I need to tidy it up, but no, it's separate, which is good because then you can leave it open and you don't have to tidy up each time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. And what is about the themes of your artworks? Where do the themes of your artworks come from?
Well, usually, I mean, if you look through the whole, if you get on my website and you'll see lots of images, different things, it's usually it's a story of my life, really. um, Things like Reeded Loch, that's just uh, a lake. I mean, in Scotland they call it Loch, just along the road from where we spent our summers when we were kids. I've also got. Um, I love boats and reflections. My brother is a horse vet, so hence I've done horses. Um, it's where I, you know, someone says, "Why didn't you try this?" That's what started with when I did cricket. Now you think cricket, why that? I do like cricket and my family love it too. But someone said, why don't you do that and do a scene, a cricket scene? And unbelievable the response. And I was asked by by Reebok, a company called Reebok, and they said, could you do large ones? This is in the 1990s. And of course, all the cricketers I did were either sponsored by them or were, you know, Alex Stewart and Graham Thorpe and people like that. And then out of the blue, I didn't know there was a cricket memorabilia society that collect postcards, and I'd made postcards out of them. So probably about 10 years ago, I get an email from someone said, have you done any modern cricketers? I thought, whoops, no, I haven't. So I did a few then. So yeah, so there's a different subjects. Nature's coming. I'm doing a lot of nature now. I'm trying to do well, I've got a print of this one. I'll get it. I don't know if you can see it. It's a reflection. I actually did it that way, and then I put things. What I wanted to do. I wanted to create um, depth, and so with the leaves on top, and then how I get the depth, because Monet could do that on paint, and I thought, how can I do it? And I had to wax areas and take the wax out and do a wash, but I was so excited when I did it. I felt that I achieved it, but you don't know till you ironed out the wax whether you've succeeded or not. So I've been doing a lot of reflections.
And maybe when next time we have the other topic about the technical moments which you use in your artworks, you will explain us how you can combine two additional colors together, the gold and blue. And I think you have a secret.
Well,
Yeah.
I was asked to write a book.
Yes.
I was asked to write a book in 2001. Well, that I wrote this book, and it's more sort of different projects and things in it, and different techniques. And then in 2016, Search Press brought it out as a classic. But unfortunately, and then they said, well, we're not going to be printing anymore. And I just thought, oh. So I've actually sold out, and but they have asked me to write another book, and you can still get this book, and also if I want, I can get some printed just for that. But you know, there are not many books on batik.
Yeah, not
And,
many.
and I don't want it to make it too how to. I mean, this one was saying, going through all the techniques, working on paper, working with the different tools, made a lampshade, putting two colors next door, how to do that. And um, and also had examples of my work on the back in the, you know, sort of gallery area. And therefore, what happens is I would like to do another one, do some similar projects, but you know, having been overseas representative for the Batik Guild, I've seen some amazing work from different people. And especially there's someone called Monica Sierra who lives in Chile, and she does amazing spattering of the wax and gets a wonderful scarves and things. And I thought, well, maybe I should try and have uh, other people contributing to the book, because you know, everyone's got a wonderful technique and tricks of how you can create things, and you always learn from someone. So hopefully.